So quite often what happens is that we invite pitches
Yes,
from entrepreneurs across the continent.
right.
And when these pitches take place, we invite even entrepreneurs from other parts of the world. By
Yes.
that I mean angels who
Yes.
can then watch your pitch online.
Okay.
And then we've been able to invest quite a few entities through that methodology, through that approach.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there anyone that is upcoming? Good evening, Africa. Welcome to Unique to Africa. Unique to Africa continues to bring you the brightest minds on the continent, minds that will inspire you, that will put you to the right directions, minds that will help your businesses grow, and they will also introduce you to investors or people that are looking to invest in different spheres of businesses. Today we are still in Gaborone. We ask you to continue to like, to subscribe to our channel, to share as much as you can, and to follow us on all the different social media platforms. As you all know, Unique to Africa is a channel that promotes African businesses, African entrepreneurs, but also showcases different African cultures and different aspects of Africa. Once more, we are sitting in Gaborone and we are going to talk to someone who is a legend in Gaborone. Everyone knows him, everyone talks about him. He has his hand in so many different jars. He can take you through different journeys on how to succeed in businesses and some of the things he has done. So I would like to ask him to introduce himself to the rest of Africa.
I'm delighted and honored that you find it worthy to invite me to your studio, makeshift studio here at
Yes.
Mug and Bean in Riverwalk, Gaborone. I
Right.
see you say Gaborone, Gaborone,
Gaborone.
Botswana. My name is Mumpuluki Luruma Mohobe,
Yeah.
as indicated in my book,
Yes.
Mumpuluki Luruma Mohobe, but for short, Mom. And my book, I call myself Mom to make it easier for everybody to pronounce.
Right.
I'm a business person, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm involved in multiple areas, most notably real estate, where we acquire properties for in two ways. One, undeveloped land,
Okay.
and two, developed properties that are already built, and three, we also develop those properties ourselves.
Okay.
And we've been in this line of business for about more than 2 decades now,
Okay.
and we continue to grow our portfolio that way. But we're also interested in restaurants. We own a restaurant
Okay.
in the CBD. It used to be called Black, now it's going to be called Pond.
Pond.
We are rebranding
Okay.
and refurbishing it to be top class.
Okay.
In addition to that, we are also active in the hospitality space.
Okay.
We have a few lodges, one in Maung and one here in Gaborone. And we are also interested in the business of podcasting.
Okay.
There's a
All right.
podcast we operate in, and I'm inviting your viewers to subscribe to my podcast. It's
Absolutely.
called Mokhobe Nuggets of Wisdom Podcast.
Mukobe Nuggets. You would find the name displayed on the screen, and you would also find the name of the restaurant displayed on the screen. So anytime you are in Gaborone, please make sure that you visit the restaurant. It's actually undergoing rebranding, and just remember he mentioned that he also has a podcast, which is called
Mokhobe Nuggets of Wisdom.
Muhobe, Nugget of Wisdom. We'll also have the name displayed on the screen.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to try and ambush you and persuade you to be on my podcast on Thursday.
Okay, I would
If you are
love
still
that.
in Gabs on Thursday.
I would love that.
But my interest is really to infuse, energize,
Yeah.
inspire, and to empower others,
Okay.
especially entrepreneurs. And my interest is also in investing into startups
Okay.
when they are at basements level.
Okay.
And we do this through an entity called Angel Network Botswana, ANB.
NB.
And you can check out our our presence in LinkedIn and in
Okay.
Facebook, and you can connect us with us there.
Okay.
The whole thing about it is that we have about 50 entrepreneurs here in Gabs and Gaborone and
Yeah.
surrounding areas, 50 of them who have excess liquidity
Yes.
that they are deploying to help entrepreneurs who are starting up.
Yes.
And the idea is to get them while they are still starting.
Okay.
So we only have two criteria: is what you want to invest in, is it investable? In
Okay.
other words, is it capable of running as a business?
Okay.
Does it have at least basic structures like accounting? Do you know what you're doing?
Yeah.
That's the first question. The second question, is it scalable?
Okay.
Our interest is to make sure that it's a type of business that can grow here in Botswana and through the rest of Africa.
Okay.
And we've been in operation now 4 years, and we invested in a dozen or so entities, and we continue to grow.
Okay.
So that, in a nutshell, is a summary of what I'm about. But my original background is law. I
Okay.
spent 25 years litigating in our courts here in
Okay.
Botswana.
Okay.
So the law firm, Lerumo Mohobi Legal Practitioners, which I founded 30 or so years ago, 32 years ago,
Okay.
is still running, and it's
Okay.
operating from our building at Mohobi Plaza, which
Yes.
is at the center of the CBD.
Okay.
So that really is a summary of what we do.
All right. No,
Yeah.
that's perfect. Thank you for that very precise and very detailed introduction. Now, for people that are listening to you, they would like to find out. Number one, you mentioned startup businesses that are looking for investment. And remember, we're going around Africa talking to entrepreneurs who are just starting as well, or even entrepreneurs that have already been in business but struggling to get their feet off the ground. Now, is this areas of investment, are they limited to specific fields? That's number one. And number two, would you only consider businesses, startup businesses that are based in Botswana?
Those are two very great questions.
Yeah.
What we've done at Angel Network Botswana is to not restrict ourselves overly, or is not to set up an overly rigid investment criteria.
Yes.
So we are just saying, look, we are looking at businesses from all arrays, all areas
Yes.
of commerce or enterprise, but we want those that respond well to tech. So we want tech-enabled
Yeah.
type of enterprises that are capable of growing, because we recognize that you can only grow significantly through a supercharge of technology, in terms of having systems that can easily be connected to tech.
Yes.
So, and as to regard your question whether we are limited to Botswana, no.
Okay.
We are outward looking. I think we have a majority of entities that we are invested in Botswana.
Okay.
But there's one or two that are in South Africa, and I think there's one in Nigeria
Okay.
that we have invested in. And
Okay.
we have established a relationship with Josie Angels,
Okay.
which are angels in Johannesburg.
Correct.
And then there are also some angels in Nigeria with
Okay.
whom we have an association.
Okay.
So quite often what happens is that we invite pitches
Yes.
from entrepreneurs across the continent.
Right.
And when these pitches take place, we invite even entrepreneurs from other parts of the world. By
Yes.
that I mean angels,
Yes.
who can then watch your pitch online.
Okay.
And then we've been able to invest quite a few entities through that methodology, through that
Oh,
approach.
okay.
Yes.
Is there anyone that is upcoming, like in the near future? Any of those, call it conferences, if you like?
Yeah, yes, we do have days on which we entertain pitches,
Okay.
and at the moment there is not a set date,
Okay.
but there are committees within Angel Network Botswana which are constantly reviewing upcoming entrepreneurs.
Okay.
I, for instance, I'm co-chair of the mentorship committee.
Okay.
So often you have entrepreneurs who have no clue. They have an idea,
Yes.
but they have no clue as to how to execute on it.
Okay.
So my committee would be hand-holding the entrepreneur and taking them through a, um, a canvas
Yes.
which guides them as to the sort of things to look at. For
Okay.
instance, even on the nuggets, there are top 10 nuggets on how to pitch.
Yes.
So I take you through those nuggets. The first one is that you have to be confident. The second one is that you have to really understand numbers in terms of the valuation of your business
Right.
and how much you're willing to sell in
Yes.
terms of what percentage of your company you are inviting entrepreneurs to buy.
Yes.
And then there's a question of also having a little bit of traction,
Yes.
or what they call proof of concept.
Right.
And then other things that are important is to, if it's a goods as opposed to services that you want to be involved in, have some kind of sample
Yes.
or prototype of
Yes.
what you want to invest in.
Yeah.
And then we also, if it's a service, have a clear demonstration of how that service
Yes.
work. If you cannot tell us in the format of an elevator pitch within a short space of time
Right.
what you really want, we we discovered that that shows you are not clear on
Right.
what you want to do.
Yes.
So we put you through all those things so that I just mentioned four, but there are six
Yeah.
key
Areas.
components
Yes.
that make a successful pitch. We
Okay.
take you through that uh, through our system at Angel Network Botswana.
Okay. I've got two questions that I'm going to ask in connection to that.
Yes.
The first one is quite straightforward. For the people that are listening and thinking, I would like to avail myself when one of those occasions come up where they can actually come and do a pitch, but they cannot afford maybe the cost of coming over. But they do have a pitch that is scalable, that is marketable, and they just want to send it through to you and have a conversation with you about it. How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, we have a secretariat.
Okay.
The secretariat will obviously put you through the hoops, as it were, to see whether it's really something of substance.
Yes.
And we've been able to interact with people online.
Yes.
Typically, what we would do is, if we see that you have a semblance of a business idea,
Yes.
me and my co-chair will set up a WhatsApp group,
Yeah.
and we will give you a template
Yes.
to guide you how to prepare your pitch, and then we'll provide you with these guidelines of what we've done in the past. Like I said, the nuggets on how to successfully pitch.
Yeah.
So we will do that. We can do that. Distance is not a barrier,
Correct.
as long as you have connectivity,
Yeah.
you have a smartphone,
Yes.
and you are really dedicated. We can take you through those things and communicate online.
Yes.
We have in the past, though, tended to gravitate towards meeting you face to face,
Yes.
and if you're in Gabs or South Africa,
Yeah.
Botswana or South Africa, it tends to be easier.
Yes,
So
that's
you can
correct.
hop on a bus and come and meet with us,
Correct.
or you can go on a flight and come and meet with us. But if you are a bit far, then we have to work around those logistics.
Yeah.
Perhaps do everything online initially,
Yes.
including the pitch. But if the pitch is successful,
Yeah.
then it's a matter of you perhaps making an appearance. Because there's one thing I'll tell you about entrepreneurs: they don't like to part with their money unless they know you.
That's
So if
correct.
you're asking people to invest, say, even if it's a minority stake, 20, 30% in your business,
Yeah.
I find 9 times out of 10 they would want to know you, know your personality, because they are investing. Remember, they're investing in you.
Yes.
They are investing in you. It's not just in your business.
Yeah.
They are more interested in you. Are you a
Yes.
businessman? Are you teachable? Are you trainable? Are you adaptable?
Yes.
Those are the sort of questions we ask ourselves.
Okay. Now the second one is a little bit off ramp. It's a gap that I found in Botswana since I arrived, which is something that I also discovered in Namibia. So this tends to come up a lot in my conversations. I discuss it with people that I meet on the street, the different entrepreneurs that I've spoken to, and you have actually provided a platform where that can actually be properly um, explored. So I'm talking about the areas of e-hailing, like the in-drives that we have today, the Ubers
Yeah, yeah.
and the delivery services. Um, I find it to be a little bit lacking in Gaborone. I'm not sure about the other towns. But seeing that Gaborone is like the capital city,
Yes.
I expected it to be more prevalent in the capital
Yeah.
than in other areas of the country. Have you not had entrepreneurs or guys that are in the tech industry that have come up with proposals on delivery services, and also an active competition that can stand the likes of the in-driver that exists today, which I found not to be, I'm not sure if I should say that, but very effective as I've seen in other
Yeah,
countries.
yeah.
They're very effective in other countries, but there is a little bit of a lag
Yeah.
in Botswana. And I would love to see an app in an African country owned and controlled by an African. So, were you guys thinking of this gap and how to fill that?
That's a brilliant question. And now that you mention it, yes, this is an area where we have been a bit slow.
Yes,
Part of the reason could be the size of our population. You know, we're at 2.3 million,
correct.
and therefore, maybe just the sheer economies of scale. There are not that many entrepreneurs out there who are stepping forward to come
Yes,
and make a difference. Number one. Number two, yes, indeed, there is a gap,
right.
and I do know that when it comes to food delivery service,
Yes,
there is a rudimentary app already
correct.
in existence that is still taking shape.
Yeah,
And then in terms of the Uber service,
yes,
there's something which is similar that
yes.
one or two entrepreneurs are working on.
Okay,
But right now, there's just too many, I don't know whether to call them cobwebs, but just far too many teething problems.
okay.
So we have not had the privilege as Angel Network Botswana to
Yes,
meet with a dynamic young entrepreneur. But the mere fact that you are mentioning it,
yeah,
the mere fact that you are mentioning it is a clear indication
yeah.
that the market is screaming
It
for
is.
an entrepreneur who can take advantage
Yes,
and fill that gap and
yes.
do something about it.
I spoke to a lot of young people in Namibia, and I've also met quite a few since I arrived in Gaborone. And I was explaining to them the benefits of having an app like this, where it will actually allow restaurants to operate even into the late hours of the night. Some of them don't actually operate now because they lack those services. You've got clients that might want to have to, they don't want to come to the restaurants
No,
physically and they
yeah,
just want the stuff delivered to them at home. But they don't get that. So that is a huge market that exists.
yeah.
We were talking about it with another group of people yesterday, and they were considering that to work as a team and then come up with something.
Yeah, we like I said, not to interrupt you or anything.
Yeah.
There was a food delivery service. You know, I
Yes.
told you we own restaurants.
Yes.
That was quite active, but I don't know. They sort of fizzled out
Yes.
because I don't see them much. But they used to have scooters
Yes.
running around. The important thing with something like this is that you need heavy injection of capital, and
Yes.
then you need
Correct.
the tenacity and the grit. You know, my
Yes.
book is called Nuggets of Grit.
Yes.
You need the grit to go
Yes.
forward. So I don't want to criticize this young lady. I believe it was owned by a young lady, this delivery service.
Okay.
I don't want to criticize her that she didn't have enough grit or anything, but what I noticed is that the business is no longer operational, not like before.
Okay.
So clearly there's a gap in the market, there's a
Yes.
need.
I
Maybe
agree.
someone is watching and listening and say, look, I can take it on. I have the tenacity, the guts.
Yes,
All I need is the funding. And
absolutely.
quite often you have no shortage of money in
Yes,
Botswana
yeah,
in terms of what is available out there, whether it's in the banks,
yeah,
whether it's in the pension fund industry, or whether it's from the angels. The money is there.
yes,
What is lacking is not is great ideas
yeah,
and great entrepreneurs to execute on them.
correct.
That's what we are in at Angel Network, Botswana. That's what we are looking for.
Yes,
That's what we are urging
yes,
the market to come forward with.
absolutely.
Yes.
So we are now putting it out there to the citizens first of Botswana. If you do have an idea on how to build an app to start with, and you don't know how to go about the funding, um, Mr. Mobs is here. He can also guide you through how to get funding. You already heard him mention the different channels where funding can come from. So please do reach out to him, and you guys can establish something that could get this business kick off the ground. Um,
Thank you.
let's go. You also mentioned property. You are also in the real estate business.
Yes.
Can you tell us about this?
Yeah, no, property is really my main gig, as it were.
Okay.
It's a source of, bread for us.
Okay.
The attitude we've taken is just to have if you like, a three-pronged strategy.
Yes.
There's a thing in the book. If you buy the book, I go into greater detail called
Yes.
Mokobe Gentle Giant.
Okay.
That gentle giant is made up of three circles which overlap each other.
Yes.
On the left is development.
Yeah.
The whole idea is that we are constantly developing properties. At any given time,
Okay.
we're putting up structures, be it warehouses, be it multi-residentials, be it office complexes.
Yes.
We have a whole team, we have a full-time team working on that.
Okay.
And then on this side, we have an acquisition manager who's obviously always snooping around to see
Yes.
what is available in the market, and we acquire properties. Hopefully, we can get them at a discount
Yeah.
of say up to 20% from a highly motivated seller.
Yeah.
And sometimes we look at whether those properties are well located, and we consider also whether those properties can give profitability from day one.
Okay.
So if a property cannot make money from day one, we take it's against our criteria.
Okay.
So that's development, that's acquisition,
Yeah.
and then at the bottom we have another circle which is consolidation and and management,
Okay.
where we bring in the properties we're acquiring and then we are managing them there.
Okay.
So we will have a large team of people, and we largely have people in collections
Yeah.
whose responsibility is to make sure people pay on time.
Correct.
We have people who are doing logistics
Yes.
with emphasis on making sure that on the management side,
Yes.
these properties are well managed, people are onboarded properly, and you can call it operations.
Yes.
We have operations people there, and then we also have accounting function,
Right.
and then we happen to also have a small agency
Yes.
where we help to source potential tenants
Yeah.
and to onboard them and to also acquire property through the agency now,
Yes.
where we can actually get commission
Yes.
even if we are not directly involved ourselves.
I see.
So there's a whole team at Mohobe Plaza. You meet them when you come
Okay.
to the podcast on Thursday.
Okay.
We have a fairly robust operation
Okay.
because we are dealing with in excess of 300 units across the country,
Wow.
and we would like to grow that number to at least 1,000
Okay.
in the next 5 years.
Okay. And I also noticed Botswana is not short of land, and luckily you are in the real estate industry. Now, for investors or for Africans or people all over the world that are looking to settle in Botswana or invest in real estate in Botswana, what are the advantages that are available to them if they want to come here and be involved in real estate?
The biggest advantage is really one that goes for all industries
Yeah.
and for everything in Botswana.
Yeah.
We like to tout and the fact that we're a peace-loving nation.
Right.
Very peaceful. We've never had wars. We've never had an armed struggle.
Yes.
We believe in maintaining this peace. It's part of our ethos. It's part of our DNA.
Yes.
That's number one. And number two, if you bringing in capital,
Yes.
and if you are willing to stay within and apply yourself in Botswana,
Yes.
I can give you examples of many uh, people who came from outside.
Yes.
We have a lot of Kenyans. We have a sizable number of Nigerians.
Yeah.
We have a huge number of South Africans
Right.
who have settled in here, established industries, and have grown.
Yes.
So long as you're providing employment,
Yes.
so long as you have a strategy,
Yes.
every real estate investor has to have a viable strategy.
Yes.
You obviously have to know locals
Yes.
who can connect you. You have to know the land tenure system,
Yes.
tenure system in Botswana. So take time. I suggest that a person should spend a few months first
Yeah.
to understand the infrastructure
Yeah.
and then start investing.
Which brings me to the second part of the question. Is the other part that I wanted to add to it.
Yes.
So where do you come in, especially with regards to people that are outside Botswana
Yeah.
looking to get into the real estate business in Botswana? What area of assistance can you provide to such
That's a
people?
very good question.
Yeah.
I have the advantage that I still have a law firm.
Okay.
I have young, dynamic lawyers who can help you in terms of incorporating companies,
Yes.
who can help you in terms of sorting out your IP and making sure that that is in place,
Right.
who can help you draft NDAs, draft full scale agreements,
Yes.
deeds of sale, and make sure that you are legally protected.
Right.
It's very, very important that you get your paperwork right so that
Yes.
tomorrow when there's a dispute, you are able to know that you are covered.
Yes.
So that is, if you like, at a foundational level.
Okay.
Have your T's crossed and I's dotted in terms of the legal baseline or the legal foundation.
Right.
For from there, I mentioned Mopond. Mopond is one of our agency
Yes.
which can help you snoop around for potential buyers,
Yes.
for potential sellers, in terms of somebody maybe perhaps selling a piece of industry
Yes.
or something like that.
Yeah.
So, what is my point? My point is that we have the infrastructure
Right.
as Mokobe group of companies.
Yes.
On top of that, if you want to be known out there, to be
Yes.
introduced to a wider community in Botswana, we
Yes.
give you the platform of our podcast
Right.
where you can sit,
That is where I'm going next.
yeah,
Yes.
and announce what
Yeah.
your business does. If you have a track record from elsewhere, you're able to introduce yourself to the market. So
Okay.
we are really available and keen
Yes.
to welcome investors
Right.
and to be more than happy to. We're more than happy to lead you along and to
Yeah.
guide you along.
Absolutely.
Luckily for us, we do have government agencies
Yeah.
such as BITC.
Okay.
BITC.
That will be Brand Botswana.
Yes,
Yes.
they're also a brand of Botswana. Yes,
Yes.
they are Botswana Investment Trade Center.
Correct.
It's a one-stop center. And
Yes.
they're not far from our offices.
I was there. I think 3 days ago.
Yes,
Yes.
those guys will help you like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
They would like to help you. They sometimes boast that they want to make multimillionaires. That is their job. Whether they are
Well, they
local
actually assisted me with a catalog of all the local businesses
in
Botswana.
Botswana,
Yes.
and
Which was
they give you contacts of
Yes.
who to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they gave us the brand Botswana mark. Even our
Yes.
podcast
Yeah.
has their brand Botswana mark. So
I see.
you get like that additional boost from the logo.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, you've heard. If you are anywhere in Africa or in the world for that matter, and you're looking at investing in real estate, the Magopi Group of companies are hands-on to assist you. He just mentioned the podcast. He mentioned the law firm that will help you deal with every legality that is surrounding purchasing property in Botswana. So you can reach out to them. The details will be on the screen. They will also be on the details on the podcast. You can reach out to them, and if you need any assistance, more information regarding this, please do make sure that you reach out to them. The next thing is your podcast. You do own a podcast.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, that is how your name came up when I arrived. I was sitting with a group of guys, and I told them that I'm going around Africa talking to entrepreneurs. And they said, "Oh, we've got someone that has something very similar, but it's local." So I said, "I would love to meet him." And then they just went, and next thing, someone got your number, and I called you. Can you tell us about your podcast?
Yeah, it started with the radio really. When I was still practicing an active lawyer,
Okay.
I was instrumental in setting up a radio station. In fact, a
Yes.
group of radio stations which had partnered together.
Yes.
But the one specific one was Duma FM.
Okay.
So after I had set it up and done all the paperwork and they are fully licensed, one of the CEOs said, "But you like talking a lot. Why don't you take a slot?" I said, "No, I talk because it's my business."
Yes.
And I thought about it overnight, and then I came up with a program called Meet the Overcomers.
Meet the Overcomers.
Yeah, that
Okay.
program actually started running from 08 and stopped about 2 years ago.
Okay.
So it ran for 13 solid years.
Wow.
Initially, it was me physically handling it
Yes.
in terms of being the host. But
Yeah.
then after 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years, I handed it to Mr. Majani. And it was the longest running podcast
Okay.
in the country, and it did very, very well.
Okay.
So with modernization, as YouTube sprang up and all these things,
Yes.
and as I overcame my phobia
Yeah.
for social media, because I hate to admit this, but I hated social media.
Well, we all did at some
Yeah,
stage.
when I used to see my wife on Facebook, I
Yes.
why are you wasting time? This is for kids. And it took time for me to realize the value of that. Now
Yes.
I'm way now more active than everybody else in the family. But it started with one of my sons, my younger son, insisting that we go to Game City, game stores,
Yeah.
to acquire a camera.
Okay.
And then we started shooting immediately. If you see some of the early podcasts or the early episodes, you'd laugh.
Okay.
Because they were laughable.
Okay.
We didn't know what we were doing.
Yes.
It was only after 6 months that we started really solidifying and having a system,
Yeah.
and then being regular with our posting, and then we started interviewing people.
Yeah.
So in earnest, we started interviewing people in January of 2000.
Yes.
And then, of course, COVID came.
Yeah.
During COVID, I started now staring into the camera and venting out. You
Yes.
see some of the videos there. But that's how it started. I mean, I remember at the height of COVID, when they had lockdowns, we had about I was celebrating 500 subscribers.
Okay.
Today, we have in excess of 15,000.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
And these are just 15,000 who have subscribed.
Yes.
But I've noticed, and YouTube tells me 2/3 of people who watch have
Yes.
not subscribed.
That is correct. Yeah, because you get all those reviews.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So there's another, God knows, another 30,000 people.
That is just lying
That
somewhere.
is just there. That
Well,
I
we,
need-
we are asking the viewers to please subscribe to these channels. And your YouTube channel is called Magopi
Mokhobe Nuggets of Wisdom.
Nuggets of Wisdom. Mokopi Nuggets of Wisdom. I'll still have it displayed on the screen. For those of you that follow Unique to Africa, one thing I can tell you is that it's very, very similar. The mission or the vision of this project is very similar to Unique to Africa's one, where we promote entrepreneurs, we talk to them, listen to their challenges and some of the problems that they face. So if you are subscribed to Unique to Africa, you better subscribe to Magopi
Nuggets of Wisdom.
Nuggets. How did you come up with Nuggets?
This is a very, very interesting story. I talk about it in the book, actually.
Okay.
There's a book that was very influential in my life by a pastor called Mason.
Okay.
The book was called, The Enemy Called Average.
Okay.
And in that book, Pastor Mason broke down the book by nuggets.
Yes.
Chapters were called nuggets.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and I liked that idea of
Yes.
nuggets. So I adopted that to the point where even when 2.5 years ago, when I started writing a book, this, by the way, was launched in December,
Okay.
Nuggets of Grit.
Yes.
I still kept the nuggets idea because now it's like my own brand now.
Yes.
They call me a Nugget Man. they call my two boys Nugget Boys.
Oh wow, that's beautiful.
So So that's how the name started, and
Okay.
it stuck, and it's part of our brand.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now that's beautiful.
yeah,
Now let's get into the book.
yes.
Um, First of all, I would like to show the book to the viewers. It's Nuggets of Grit. I had time to just go through the synopsis of the book, and I can tell you it forces you to want to read the entire book immediately. So you will, after this discussion, know how to get hold of this, how to order a copy. But we will first of all like to listen to what it is about and why he came up with the book.
Yeah.
So, can you please tell us about Nuggets of Grit?
Great. Yeah, the book is very interesting because I'm also a professional speaker
Okay.
in the sense that I went for training and
Yes.
I get invited to speak. So I thought I better do it well.
Yes.
So sometimes when I've spoken to an audience, where can we get more?
Yes.
We want to know more about this, and sort of inspired me and urged me to now write.
Right.
So I started writing, but I noticed as I was writing, I was using a lawyer's style.
Okay.
And
Yes.
because having been a lawyer for 2.5 years, so I was using big words and bombastic,
Yes.
and I realized that people would not relate to that. So I
Correct.
decided to partner with Saidim Dalla.
Okay.
Sadim Dalla is a journalist and a writer of many books. I
Okay.
said, please just translate my English
Just tone
to
it
normal
down.
English, tone
Yes.
it down. And he did such a brilliant job.
Yes.
What I would do is I would sometimes write, sometimes I would dictate,
Yes.
and then he would just convert my story into this. But the whole thing was just to capture my memoirs or my autobiography,
Yes.
such that I can inspire others, and perhaps through the readership of this book, and given the kind of feedback I'm getting,
Yes.
the book has been quite is beginning to be quite impactful,
Okay.
and we're hoping that it will be a bestseller very soon.
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah. So it
What?
lives up to our ethos, which I said earlier is to infuse, energize, inspire, and to empower,
Right.
which is what my life's purpose is,
Absolutely.
especially entrepreneurs and people who are involved in business, because I believe that business is foundation
Right.
for life.
Yes.
I believe that business is really the engine
Yes.
for life in general.
Right.
So entrepreneurship is what I'm preaching
Okay.
non-stop. So we try to lead by example, and I would urge all the entrepreneurs out there to
Yeah.
start recording their stories.
Correct.
Your story is very, very important
Very important.
because it serves as a guidepost
Right.
for going forward, and it also ensures that it develops your brand. You
Correct.
develop your brand through your story.
Right.
So that is the reason behind writing this book,
Okay.
and also to get some of the things off my mind,
Yes.
because there's something about knowing your story but not being able to understand it yourself.
Yes.
So as you write,
Yeah.
you develop a sense of clarity,
Correct.
and things now become clearer as, oh, this is what happened. And I even had to involve my sister, my employees, or what happened that day, what became of that.
Yes.
And then you have clarity, so
Yes.
you're able to tell your own stories. Often because of slavery, because of colonization and
Yeah.
neocolonialism, we have, as African people, been convinced that we're inferior,
Correct.
and because of that,
You can't. You're not better.
yeah.
Yes.
So we had to overcome that, and the best way to overcome that, in my belief,
Yes.
is through writing our own stories, owning our own stories,
Yeah.
and really representing our own stories,
Yeah.
which is what I do in Mom Nuggets of Grit. I
Yes.
talk about my journey from the cattle post, because
Yes.
I call myself a product of two cattle posts,
Okay.
because I grew up in one cattle post with my grandfather,
Yes.
and then after that I grew up in another cattle post, with this time with my father.
Okay.
Because the first 10 years of my life I didn't know my father. So
Okay.
when he came, he introduced me to another cattle post.
Yes.
I talk about that in the book.
Oh,
So let me not spoil it for your viewers.
I was gonna say, please don't let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
All right. First, for people that are residing in Botswana, the cost of this book is 399 pula.
Yeah.
And to make it easy for the rest of Africa, what does it translate to in dollars?
In dollars.
Yeah.
You divide that by 12 or 13.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that gives us about
So 39, but 30, about $30.
30, yeah. I was
Yeah.
thinking 39, but that's a little bit
Yeah, I
higher.
think 30 is
About
more
30.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Mm.
So for people that are residing in Botswana, here is the book. Please, you are advised to get a copy. And how do they find a copy?
Okay, it's very simple. At the moment, I'm yet to place it at Exclusive Books.
Yeah.
I'm still in talks with them, but for now, you just call plus 267
Okay.
39
Right.
1368 1368.
Okay, we will have the number displayed on the screen in
Yeah.
case you are looking to get a copy of the book and you are residing in Botswana. And this can, of course, be shipped to the other.
Yes, it's very simple. We've already shipped to Zambia and to
Yes.
Zimbabwe and to South Africa through
Yeah.
Korea.
To Korea.
So we
Okay.
arrange. Apparently, it's a nominal amount
Yes.
in those three places. I don't know about Namibia and other places up
Yeah.
north, but it is easily transportable. I was looking for my PA. I'll give you my PA's cell phone number.
Okay.
You can also call her. Also, you can reach us via my website.
Okay.
So I'm going to share the link from my website.
Okay. We
with
will
you.
also have it in the description for those who want to buy it directly from the website.
Yes, yes.
And we will also have this available on the Unique to Africa website.
Okay,
So we'll create a link just for this book, just to advertise it on the site.
okay.
And people that are looking to buy the book, once they click on that site where this book is sold,
Yeah,
it will then redirect them directly to your website where they can make the purchases.
perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
So you have it. Please do reach out. Make sure you have a copy of this book. Let's make sure that we sell 1,000 copies in 2 months. I'm hoping that we can beat that record
We
and sell
can.
this number of copies.
We can, because then it becomes a bestseller.
That's correct. It becomes the bestseller, and
Yeah.
coming from Africa, that is something to
Yeah.
celebrate.
I'll tell you a little story. I had a
Yeah.
woman come from, the US,
Okay.
Library of Congress,
Okay.
who said he saw the book in our library,
Yes.
National Library, and he liked the book immediately.
Okay.
And he's already placing copies for Congress, for institutions such as Stanford,
Okay.
Harvard, institutions of high learning in
Wow.
America.
That's
They already
beautiful.
see the value of the book.
Right.
So I'm
I
very
mean,
pleased
it's a
about that.
real story.
Yes.
And a lot of people will relate to it.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a copy to have.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks.
Just before we round up, what message do you have for Africans and African entrepreneurs? That's number one. And number two, I would like you to send a message out there to Africans who are scared of going around the continent, because one thing we're trying to encourage as well is for Africans to know the continent by traveling to other African countries.
Yeah.
So, what is your message to Africans who have never been to Botswana to come and visit Botswana? What message do you have to them?
I think there's a recognition even among our leadership that Africa really needs to open up. The mere fact that we require visas to travel to certain countries, and
Right.
we make it very difficult for us to associate. It looks like we are enforcing the borders more strongly than the Berlin Conference
That
did.
is,
So
that is true.
sometimes it's unbelievable.
Yes.
But the advantages, I think, are being recognized with the coming into effect of AFCTA,
Yes.
and with in the case of Botswana and Namibia, for instance, you can
Yes.
cross the border only with your mom,
With an
with an
yes,
ID.
yes, I saw
So
that.
similar efforts are being done with regard to Zimbabwe. So
Yes.
I think our leadership is recognizing
Yeah.
that. So I would encourage people from all over the continent and the
Yeah.
diaspora.
Right.
We have so many African people
Yes.
throughout the diaspora.
Yes.
I learned that there's the largest concentration of African origin people in Brazil, for instance.
I saw that on.
After Nigeria.
Yes,
That
yes. It's a
incredible.
lot.
Yeah. Everybody out there in the diaspora, we must come back to the motherland. The
They must come
motherland
back to
needs
the
you.
mother. There's a lot of them in Brazil, in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And the good thing is they do recognize that this is where they come from.
Yeah.
So we just have to open the gates now for them to come through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In terms of my message to African entrepreneurs. I share it at the end of my book, but let me just touch 2 points that I share. One is your mind is your most valuable intellectual property,
Right.
so develop it. How do you
Correct.
develop it? You develop it through with avid readership
Yeah.
and through constant engagement,
Right.
whether this means podcasts and books
Yes.
aimed at creating new neural pathways
Yes.
for you to learn new things. So
Correct.
you must develop yourself into a sponge and become a master
Yes.
of your area of specialization. That is very, very important. I
Right.
had to do that in every field. I had to immerse myself in that field for me to become a master
Okay.
as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because nobody can take that away. Once you have the knowledge and the skill,
That's it. It's
it's
done.
yours forever.
Yes.
And then trust yourself.
Right.
Number two, that is so important to have self confidence.
Yes.
If you have nothing else to develop
Yes.
in terms of making the biggest difference, to be confident. You
Yeah.
need to be confident to articulate your interest, to say to the world, to engage the market what you want.
Yeah.
The Jews have a saying that you need chutzpah, which is
Okay.
to have guts, to have those balls
Yes.
where you are even exaggerate a little bit and punch and tell the world what you want.
Right.
That fearlessness, that you
Okay.
need that a lot. So I would ask them to develop that and to constantly put themselves in uncomfortable situations
Yeah.
in terms of don't just lie in your comfort zone.
Yes.
I look at you, came to me about 3 hours ago and said, 3 hours ago and said, you want to be interviewed?
Yes.
Because I love discomfort. I've
Correct.
never been in this setting. I've never dealt with it.
That
I
is
threw myself in.
that is, and I really really appreciate that.
Yeah, so people have to develop. And my last
And,
message.
what before you give your last message, what I want to say about that is, when I was speaking to this group of people that introduced me to you, or that mentioned you, and I decided I have to follow to get to you, is, they have actually attest to what I've been saying from the day I arrived in Botswana.
Yeah.
The people are humble, they are simple, and you could meet a millionaire that is just standing on the side of the road, and you
Yeah.
would never tell.
Yeah.
I was talking to them, and they tried to get V. He's an entertainer,
Yeah.
and they said to me, "You can try and speak to V as well because he's doing a lot for communities."
Yes.
And I said, "Hey, these people are so busy," and they said, "Just give it a try." So one of these ladies went up and down and finally got the number.
Yeah.
When I called him, and he said, "Yeah, we can meet on Thursday." I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay."
Just like that.
Yes, and I was thinking, he is gonna give me some conditions, and no,
Yeah.
that was it. I
Yeah.
called him today because he was performing somewhere yesterday, I think in Francistown.
Yeah.
I called him today and I just reminded him, like, "Do you still remember we have to meet?" He said, "Of course I do remember."
Yeah.
So yeah, so
So this
I'm
is
really.
excellent.
And when I came and I met you,
Yeah.
it was not a hassle for me to actually establish that we could have this
Yeah.
conversation.
I was quite happy
Luckily,
to meet you. Yeah.
yeah, it is a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and you had a
Number
second
three,
message. Yeah,
the third and final, for now, for purposes,
yeah,
it's contained in the idea of nuggets of grit.
yes,
So, develop your grit. What
yes,
does grit mean? Grit means that sense of perseverance, that sense of resilience, that sense of persistence, that sense of never say die attitude. It
correct.
doesn't come automatically,
Yes,
but it's the difference between success and failure. It's the difference between being an entrepreneur and being a wannabe
right,
entrepreneur. So I would encourage them to work on that a lot
correct.
and develop and cultivate that grit.
Yes,
There's a book by a woman called Angela Duckworth called
okay,
Grit, where
okay,
she's done scientific studies and she has found that the biggest difference, whether you watch those who are successful and those who have not been successful, is the presence of grit.
okay.
That you never have a pity party for yourself, you never have a sense of low esteem
Yes,
or fear, and even if you have the fear, you carry on.
yes,
So cultivate that grit. And if
yes.
you want to know more about it, buy the book, and I break it down in greater detail here.
Please do buy the book. There is a lot to learn from it. And like he just said, if you are suffering from low self-esteem, if you want to build your grit, this is the book to buy. And we encourage Africans from all over the continent, and especially in diaspora as well, to make sure that they have a copy. You will have details of all of this displayed on the screen. You will also have them in the details of the on the YouTube channel. It's been a pleasure talking to Mr. Mugobi of the Mugobi
Nuggets of wisdom.
Nugget of Wisdom, and
Yeah.
also the group,
The
right?
group,
Yeah,
Mokobe Incorporated Group.
yeah. So it's been a pleasure. He is open to discussing investment in Botswana with anyone that is willing to invest in Botswana. He's got a legal team that can assist. He also has a restaurant which is called which is
It
going
was
through,
called Black. Now we
yeah,
are rebranding. It's going to be called The Pond.
the Pond.
So we will
I'm
share that
surprised you didn't
information.
call it the Nugget.
The Pond, and it's funny we should call it the Pond because that's a direct translation of this name,
I
Mokobe.
I
Mokobe means
see.
pond.
Okay,
Yeah,
as in the fish pond.
yeah.
Okay,
So that's why we call it the Pond, which is my
okay.
name.
And where is this restaurant situated?
It's situated exactly where Black used to be,
Okay,
which is right in the center of the CBD
yeah.
on in Mohobe Plaza on the ground floor.
Okay,
Yeah, so we are just extending it and making it bigger so that we notice that people like to sit outside.
right.
So we're increasing the outside space
Okay,
and then changing also their offering and
yes.
then beefing it up a bit. It's
Okay,
gonna look nice.
all right.
It's gonna
And
look nice.
what kind of offerings would you have there? Is it
We're
traditional
gonna be.
meal?
It's gonna be a combination of fine dining
Yes.
and simple traditional food.
Okay.
During the day, it will be simple traditional food
Yeah.
that is accessible, but in
Okay.
the evening, it's going to be a bit of a fine dining restaurant, a little
Okay.
bit of sophistication there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so is it when can they expect this to
I think April.
April?
April we should be ready.
Okay.
Should be open for business. March we are wrapping things up.
Okay, so if you are in Botswana in April, please make sure that you visit the pond, which would be in the center of town. I don't think it will be very difficult to find it.
Well, currently we have another big restaurant called
Yes,
Ayoba, who
Ayoba.
are our tenants. They are operating right there. So we'll just be side by side with Ayoba,
Okay,
which is on the ground floor also of our building, Mohobe Plaza.
okay.
Mm.
Thank you so much
You should go
for.
check it out.
I will.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for giving us so much time at a very short notice. And we're looking forward to your business just growing from strength to strength. And we also hope that a lot of Africans will reach out for wisdom and to buy the book and also to support the restaurant and all the different businesses that we've spoken about.
Thank you so much. They can start off by subscribing
Yeah,
to all our channels,
yeah,
the YouTube channel. Where it's under Mohobe Nuggets.
yes,
And then we have Mom Mohobe on Instagram,
right,
Mom Mohobe on Facebook, Mom Lerumo Mohobe on LinkedIn,
yeah,
and also Mom Mohobe on TikTok.
on TikTok.
So
Okay,
they should just sign up and join us, and then we'll be in touch. We'll
okay.
be in touch like this.
All right.
Yeah.
For Unique to Africa, we want to thank you very much for watching and please do have a lovely evening wherever you are. And we hope that you will subscribe to both channels, like you just mentioned. And ciao for now.
Okay. Thank you very much.